Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for its craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, I ghosted a cheating ex-wife. Years later, I married my child's nanny, and now I'm a statistic and a trope, but I am so happy. And a shout out to Mr. Arkansas for sending this story. And guys, like it says, this is about a guy who handles things like a boss, about finding out that his wife's cheating on him, and most certainly on multiple fronts has the last laugh, as all guys can if they get their heads out of their butts. However, you're going to see just how much of a wacko he discovers that his ex-wife really is, and holy crap. So, starts off, says here, I really struggle about making this post because my divorce is still a great source of anger at times. Get in life, brother. I've known people who have been divorced 20 years and they're still pissed off at their exes. Not much as it used to be, but it really triggers my negative brain. But my therapist told me that it helps to write a journal. It does. Absolutely it does. My ex-wife and I had a 2-year relationship. We had our son before we got married, and I tried really hard to be a good husband and father. Starting as an introvert meant that I really had to start from scratch. But I can honestly say I did my best to learn. My ex and I were total opposites, and maybe opposites attract in the beginning, but then we started to butt heads quite a bit. Well, maybe because it sounds like you didn't know her too well before you had a kid with her and got married. My ex-wife, I learned, hated to compromise and would use bullying and gaslighting tactics to get her way. Well, maybe those are some things you learned about before you proposed to her. She was a spender and wanted to splurge on things because she thought that she deserved it. Looking back, she really wasn't a good mom or wife. She was very self-centered and spent more time on her phone than with me or my son. I took care of everything, including my son's hospital bills and etc. And she didn't want any more responsibility, while I was being burnt out from all the work and responsibilities. So she's a complete user. She is a loser. She is her way or the highway, just a complete a-hole across the board. And these are things you could have found out about if you really got to know her before you got married. Now, sure, women can put on the show, and bait and switch a guy happens all the time, but the longer you're with her before that, the more the odds are you're going to find out who she is. Well, the last straw was when she was cheating on me with her ex. Both of us knew that infidelity was not acceptable from the beginning and a deal breaker. As soon as I learned, I knew that I needed to leave or start a fight. Yes, you do, sir. So I carefully planned out how I was going to leave. I found a house to rent 2 hours away from where we were. I work remotely, so that was not an issue. I removed myself from the apartment lease and all of the utilities, removed myself from the joint account that we had, and moved while my wife went to leave for some facial therapy. Facial therapy, huh? Yeah, we can all speculate what is the facial therapy. Before I left with her divorce papers with copies of evidence that I also sent to her family members exactly at the same time the moving company I left our old apartment. I blocked her on everything I could. Basically, I left everything in 6 hours. Holy crap, that's badass. So obviously, he discovered the cheating, but still he met with a lawyer and got all the paperwork ready and all that. It's not like he did that in the same day. Well, after I moved everything into my new place, I was bombarded by texts and phone calls from her side of the family. Mostly, I got apologies from her cousins since they knew from the beginning what might happen. Her mom apologized a lot, saying that she didn't raise her daughter well, and both her and my ex's aunt begged me to reconsider the divorce. Yeah, I'll really go back to such a great wife. Then I started getting messages of threats and insults from my ex at a different phone number. I just kept blocking those, but it got so bad that I just got a new phone. Women in rejection, she's gone mental. The divorce was slightly rough because of my ex. My ex tried to say that I took the kid, my son, and tried to sue me. But I presented all the facts that I was the one solely responsible for everything at home and for our son's health, speech therapy, etc. The judge was surprisingly understanding and said that since I was the primary care provider for my son, he dismissed my ex's claim. Well, clearly hell froze over in that moment that the judge was that accommodating and siding with the father. Thank God, every once in a while we can have a story like this. And then I present all the evidence of my ex's infidelity, including all the money she spent. I even got the affair partner to confess. Long story short, the affair partner still lived with his parents, and I threatened to sue him for alienation of affection unless he confessed. It was a long shot, but he caved. That's awesome. I love that in some states you can actually sue somebody for alienation of affection. It's great. Well, because of all the evidence, I was given almost all of my money. I just had to pay my ex a little bit of alimony for a year since she quit her work. And during custody, I was rewarded primary custody with my ex getting supervised visitation. Supervised visitation. That tells you what she's like. She only got that because of all the threatening messages that she sent me. She literally shot herself in the foot. It was so bad for her because I now lived 2 hours away from her by car and she couldn't drive. So she didn't even visit my son for months until she got her cousin to drive her. Man, he did that. He was taking that out of the woman's playbook. Just suddenly moving away, and she has no way to get there, so not his problem. And since she's so wacko, and yes, she's wacko, that's honestly doing the son a favor. I really realized how bad it was until only after I started living by myself and my son. I felt like a huge weight was off my shoulders, and I felt peace with myself. You know, all the divorced guys, I'm going to read this again. All you divorced guys, listen. I really realized how bad it was until only after I started living by myself and my son. I felt like a huge weight was off my shoulders, and I felt at peace with myself. How many divorced guys felt the same freaking thing once you got rid of your harpy? So I decided to make the best of this change. I still worked at home, and because of my son's autism, I was able to get a care provider to care for my son and get an ABA therapist to help his therapy at home. I was so much better than I can describe in words. That's awesome, man. Good job. You screwed up by marrying the bitch, but at least you got your son, who you love. And we're going to assume this is his son. I know what you're all thinking. And consider a blessing in disguise that she cheated on you and you caught her and, you moved on. Well, my ex shifted tactics after a few months of seeing my son, saying that she regretted her actions and wanted to be a better person for me and my son. Yeah, good luck with that. But I wasn't having any of it. One time she came with her luggage and tried to move in. Can you imagine your ex-wife showing up, guys, at your house and saying, I'm moving in? No, you're not, bitch. But I refused and called the cops. Everything from gaslighting to crying and everything to get her way again. Of course. Yeah, she's changed so much. So I told her to never come back. I even got the judge to deny her visitation since she tried to force her way into moving in a few times. She then started love bombing me with texts. She even got her mom and aunt to help her, but since that was still with my old phone, I just ended up giving it to a cell phone disposal for a chunk of change. Then about one school year had passed, and my son's care provider and I got really close. Here we go with the nanny. Talk about a freaking stereotype. She was very sweet and gentle, so much different than my ex. She was so helpful and thoughtful and so positive. But she was 11 years younger than me. Back then I was 30 and she was 19 going to nursing school. Oh, Lord. So, that's great. She's sweet and she's young and all that. And she's legal. We know she's legal, but he's 30 and she's 19. I mean, yes, again, it's legal. And there are young women that like older men. But that is night and day fucking difference in terms of, you all know I'm right here about this, but if he found his great love, and I don't believe in that shit, but if he found it and that's what he thought he had, fine. So I didn't make any advances, but one day when my son was down for his nap, she cooked me a wonderful meal and we ate together, and she confessed being attracted to me. She told me that she wanted to date me for real. I initially thought that it wasn't going to be that smooth since respite care providers had rules about fraternization and getting close to clients, and the age gap was certainly an issue. But she said that she would quit her provider work if she had to. I told her I needed time to think and process. My divorce really had shattered my desire to date anybody, but I was so attracted to her, so I told her that I would like to do this slowly and properly. Okay, good luck. The thing is that clearly this girl knew this dude was attracted to her. Women aren't stupid, come on here. And she obviously knew this guy made a good living. I mean, I have to say this, I don't trust anybody, Look, attraction is attraction. It is what it is. People sometimes have attraction for people that, you may question, but still. He needs to be careful. And 4 years of dating and graduating and becoming a full-time nurse, we tied the knot. Or after 4 years. Okay, fast forward in time, they got married. Well, I wish you all the happiness, man. At least he took 4 years with her, and she got a job, and she's a nurse. Be careful. I learned from my past mistakes and decided to be a much better husband to her. Weren't you a good husband to your other one? And look what happened there. And thanks to her vivaciousness, that wasn't too hard to do. Well, no kidding. She knew that she was good looking and he wanted her. My son even calls her mom now. In fact, the first time he did that was when I knew that I had to marry her. And I admit I took the relationship very slowly because I wanted to be careful. Well, 4 years is, okay, I'm glad you took 4 years, but they were probably dating for 3 years and got engaged for 1. I would take it longer. What's the fucking rush? Strangely enough, I'm still close to my ex's cousins. They are all old school, and while they care for my ex, they respect me even more and always ask about my son and how I'm doing. All of them are either firefighters or military, so they don't play around. They even invite my family and I to vacation with them. That's great. His ex's family are good to him and all that, but I would still be careful. And now the sore portion that makes me angry, my ex. She somehow found out my wife a few years back and confronted her at her freaking nursing school. Dude, you have to expect your wife, who's already proven to be an asshole and unstable, is going to find out you have a new girl and is younger and prettier, and it's going to set her off. That really scared my now wife, and I nearly punched her when I came to break up the situation. My now wife and I filed more restraining orders against her, and now my ex is not allowed to be anywhere near my family, even our son. Silver lining, believe me, the more your son is around your ex, that ain't good for him. She can only video chat with him now or have supervised visitation in a place of our choosing. After our divorce finalized, she returned back to work and got herself living alone. Over the years, she tried to get her cousins to convince me to help her, but they just straight up refused. Even her mom and aunt gave her up. Could happen to a nicer girl. Our last talk with each other, she told me that she could have done what she could have done to get me back, and I jokingly said that she would have to join the military to learn some self-discipline. And she actually did join the military. What? Only to be kicked out for some disciplinary reason or something like that. I know what she was doing. She was effing the other dudes, the other recruits. Now she's just passive-aggressive, posting on social media about forgiveness, second chances, and how modern women are victims. Yeah, she's a victim, all right. Uh-huh. And some of her followers actually believe her lies. You mean probably other women like her? Or other simping guys that probably want to sleep with her? My current wife told me not to worry about it. She is so kind and understanding, knowing that I have so many trust issues and such. We're planning to have our first child together soon, and I want to do things better this time. I guess the moral of the story that I want to tell every betrayed man out there is that always someone who will love and respect you more than your current spouse. Don't settle for anything less. Well, that's good, and I'm glad he's in a good situation, but I don't want him to make the same mistakes twice. Now, obviously, this guy's wacko ex who got kicked out of the military. She's a giant a-hole, multiple fronts, a narcissist, all these nasty things. We can all agree there. But I'm sure this guy didn't help the situation in some ways. So I hope he's learned from his mistakes. And obviously, he's with his new wife. And he's got a good thing going, and she's young, and she's beautiful, and she's good to the kid. Great. There's a kid on the way. But she's a nurse. And I don't trust those nurses, and you all know why. And you never know. She was looking for a guy, a sugar daddy, a guy who made money and could take care of her. Did he pay for her nursing school? I have to ask that. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope this is the rare occurrence that they have a great life together. And there are good gals out there. But you just never know. But anyhow, there you go, guys. So that's how you handle it. The first sign of BS and cheating and all that, you get rid of them. I just filmed a video earlier about a guy who didn't do that, and it was just never any BS. And so, there you go. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.